The Middle East is on edge, with tensions between Israel and Iran reaching a breaking point. These two countries have been bitter rivals for decades, locked in a cycle of mistrust and fear. Israel is deeply concerned that Iran is close to building a nuclear weapon, a threat it says it cannot accept. Recently, Israel launched a major attack on Iran's nuclear sites, targeting facilities it claims are being used to make bombs. Iran insists its nuclear program is peaceful, meant for energy and medicine, not weapons. The Israeli strike destroyed key infrastructure, escalating fears of a wider war. Now the world is anxiously watching Iran's next move. Many fear this could ignite a regional conflict with global consequences. To understand this crisis, we need to look at Israel's reasons for attacking, the doubts about those reasons, and the international response. We'll also examine the role of nuclear inspectors and the science behind Iran's nuclear program. This isn't just about one attack, it's about years of suspicion, secret actions, and high-stakes politics. The decisions made now could shape the future of the entire region. Understanding this conflict means piecing together history, science, and politics. It's a complex puzzle with no easy answers. The stakes are enormous, not just for Israel and Iran but for the world. As events unfold, every move is being watched closely. The coming days and weeks will be critical for peace and security. The world holds its breath, hoping for restraint. The outcome here could define the Middle East for years to come. Israel claims its attack on Iran's nuclear sites was an act of self-defense. Prime Minister Netanyahu argues Iran was on the verge of building a nuclear bomb, a threat Israel could not ignore. Israel calls this a preemptive strike, meant to stop a future catastrophe. Waiting, they say, would have been too risky. Iran's program was advancing too quickly. Israeli leaders insist the attack was to prevent a much larger war down the line. They frame their actions as responsible, aiming to protect their people and the region. Israel has long warned about Iran's nuclear ambitions, citing hostile rhetoric from Iranian leaders. By striking now, they believe they've set back Iran's program and bought time for diplomacy. Israel wants the world, especially the US, to see this as a necessary step for security. They argue that defending themselves, even with force, is their right. The message, act now, or face a nuclear-armed enemy later. Israel hopes this show of strength will deter future threats, but this aggressive move risks further conflict in an already volatile region. Not everyone accepts Israel's explanation at face value. Many experts question whether Iran's nuclear threat was truly urgent. Some suggest political motives played a role, perhaps to block US-Iran diplomacy or distract from domestic troubles. Prime Minister Netanyahu's government has faced protests and political challenges at home. Leaders sometimes use external threats to rally public support, a classic rally-round-the-flag effect. Critics argue the timing of the attack may have been influenced by these internal pressures. Israel has warned about Iran's nuclear program for decades, yet a bomb has never materialized. This history of repeated warnings makes some doubt the immediacy of the threat. Some analysts believe the attack was also about demonstrating Israel's military power to the region. The strike sends a message. Israel is willing to act forcefully to protect its interests. This could deter not just Iran, but other adversaries as well. The real reasons behind the attack are likely a mix of security concerns, politics, and strategic signaling. The truth is complex and may never be fully known. What's clear is that the decision was about more than just stopping a bomb. It was about shaping the future balance of power in the Middle East. The United States, Israel's closest ally, has a different view of Iran's nuclear threat. US intelligence agencies say Iran is expanding its nuclear capabilities, but they haven't seen proof of an active bomb program. This disagreement complicates international diplomacy. Without US support, it's harder for Israel to rally global backing for its actions. The US believes there's still time for negotiation and diplomacy. This difference in approach creates tension between the allies. The wider world is divided. Some Arab states quietly support Israel while Russia and China condemn the attack. European countries are caught in the middle, worried about Iran but desperate to avoid war. Most nations call for calm, fearing a regional conflict could disrupt the global economy, especially oil supplies. The lack of consensus makes it difficult for the world to respond as one. Instead, the crisis exposes deep divisions and competing interests. The world is watching, hoping for restraint. The risk of escalation is real, and the consequences could be global. The uncertainty makes finding a solution even harder. The International Atomic Energy Agency, or IAEA, is the world's nuclear watchdog. Its inspectors monitor nuclear programs to ensure materials aren't used for weapons. The IAEA has watched Iran closely for years, reporting no direct evidence of a current weapons program. This supports the US view and challenges Israel's claims of an imminent threat. However, the IAEA has found Iran was not always honest about its nuclear history. Past secrecy and incomplete answers from Iran fuel suspicion. Iran has sometimes limited inspector access and removed monitoring cameras. These actions make it harder for the IAEA to verify Iran's activities. When inspectors can't see everything, uncertainty grows. This uncertainty allows countries like Israel to argue the danger is real, even without proof. The IAEA's work is crucial, but it's also limited by what Iran allows. The lack of full transparency keeps the world guessing, and in that uncertainty, fear and mistrust thrive. Iran's growing stockpile of enriched uranium is a major concern. Uranium can power reactors or, if enriched to high levels, make bombs. The IAEA confirms Iran has far more enriched uranium than needed for peaceful purposes. Iran has enriched uranium up to 60% purity, dangerously close to weapons grade. With so much material at this level, Iran could quickly produce enough for a bomb if it chose to. This shortens the breakout time, the time needed to make bomb-grade material, to just weeks. Iran insists its enrichment is for medical and scientific uses, but the quantity and purity far exceed what's needed for those purposes. This capability puts Iran on the threshold of being a nuclear-capable state. For Israel, this is a red line, and a justification for action. The world worries that Iran is just one step away from a bomb. The crisis centers on this stockpile and what Iran might do next. The material is there. The question is what Iran intends. This is why the stakes are so high. The world is watching closely, hoping for restraint. Iran's cooperation with nuclear inspectors has been inconsistent and problematic. International rules require Iran to allow full access to its nuclear sites. But the IAEA reports Iran has blocked inspectors from certain locations and removed monitoring equipment. These actions create gaps in what the world knows about Iran's program. Inspectors have also found traces of undeclared uranium at old sites, raising more questions. Iran's explanations have been incomplete, fueling suspicion of past secret weapons work. This lack of transparency undermines trust and makes diplomacy harder. When inspectors can't verify everything, fear and speculation fill the void. Critics argue that Iran's behavior justifies tough action. Supporters of diplomacy say more openness is needed for any deal to work. The standoff over inspections is a key reason the crisis has escalated. Without trust, every move is seen as a potential threat. The world demands answers, but so far Iran hasn't provided them. The central question remains, does Iran actually want a nuclear bomb? Officially, Iran's leaders say no, citing religious bans and peaceful intentions. But many countries, including Israel and the US, doubt these assurances. They point to secret activities, high-level enrichment, and lack of cooperation as warning signs. Some Iranian officials have hinted they could build a bomb if they chose. Many experts believe Iran wants to be a threshold state, able to build a bomb quickly if needed, but stopping short of actually doing so. This strategy gives Iran leverage and deters enemies without crossing the final line. For Israel, even this threshold status is unacceptable. The ambiguity keeps the region on edge. Iran's true intentions remain a mystery. The uncertainty is what makes the situation so dangerous. The Israeli attack has pushed the region to a tipping point. The world waits to see how Iran will respond. Iran could retaliate directly with missiles, risking all-out war. Or it might use proxy groups to strike Israeli or American targets, escalating tensions without open conflict. Another option, Iran could accelerate its nuclear program, expel inspectors, and move closer to a bomb. Any of these moves could trigger a wider regional war. Diplomats are scrambling to prevent further escalation. The goal is to open communication and avoid a cycle of attack and counterattack. The next few weeks are critical. Decisions in Tehran, Jerusalem, and Washington will shape the future. The world is watching, hoping for restraint and a path back from the brink. The stakes are nothing less than peace or war in the Middle East. The outcome will echo far beyond the region.